Automation, the word strikes fear in the hearts of workers across America, especially labor workers, because as we've seen, those automated assembly lines are just one perfect example of employment going bye-bye. Now, some people don't want to embrace this unstoppable progress, and others see a bright future for workers who might be displaced. To talk more about this, I sat down with Julie Gunlock. She's the author of From Cupcakes to Chemicals, and she's policy director at the Independent Women's Forum. Here's what she had to say about this.
Well, I sort of straddle this position. I think that there are going to be winners and losers. Certainly, certain industries, particularly low-skilled jobs, jobs that usually are taken up by teenagers, by people new to the workforce, even returning mothers after maybe taking a couple years off of work to have a child. Those people will be affected. And I think there are some policies out of Washington that are accelerating the need for automation among particularly businesses that don't make a huge profit. When labor costs go up, businesses simply cannot afford to hire people.
What are some of these industries we're seeing that are really quick to jump on this, especially as labor costs have gone up with the talk about the minimum wage and things like that? Because you and I both know, no matter what side you stand on the minimum wage issue, costs are going to be cut elsewhere because it's business, right?
That's right, and we're seeing it happen in fast food. McDonald's has announced that they're going to be going to kiosks, as well as other restaurants. And I think it's sort of common sense to people. Now when you call your doctor's office or you call any business, you don't get a human being. When you do, it's almost shocking if you get a human being on the other line. You go to movie theaters, there are you can go to the ticket office or you can go to a kiosk.
Always at the kiosk.
Yes, and even airports are doing this. You can check in automatically. Now, one area that I think is deeply concerning to people is the trucking industry. Driving and the transportation industry truckers get a lot of money. They make a pretty good wage. It's not minimum.
They stick with it as a career because they can earn something for their families.
And it's not a minimum wage job. No. They actually make quite good money. And so we are now looking at driverless cars, driverless delivery systems, drones. These are the kinds of industries, I mean, look, we're going to see automation in low skilled, but even in higher skilled, like trucking and like transportation, we're going to see automation that's really going to be very hard for that particular demographic of workers.
You're right, and there's going to have to be massive retraining, which is something where higher education comes in.
Yes.
The thought of vocational training, right?
Yes.
Because right now we are seeing a really low level of government support for vocations.
There are 48 federal programs right now for retraining. And so there are resources out there, but the best thing that we could be doing is not what activists can do and frankly what policymakers can do is not pursue policies that really harm the creation of jobs. The best thing we can do for these people is create jobs so that they have a job to go to. I think there are opportunities out there as businesses change to automation. They're easing up the costs on labor and they can transfer that money to research and development in other areas and grow other sectors of the business that may create jobs. That's the future. That's how we can give these people an opportunity.
You know, when you talk to people who are out in the workforce, do you feel like there's also fear among professionals that their jobs are going to be, you know, there's this talk about exporting jobs. Well, what about exporting jobs to technology? As you said, you know, call centers and things like that, but what about professionals?
Well, it's interesting. I talk to a lot of moms, actually, and professional women who are really excited about how technology has allowed them to re-enter the workforce. At my organization, the Independent Women's Forum, many of the women work from home. And the only reason we're able to do that is because of computers and iPhones and mobile devices. And so I'm actually able to do podcasts and do radio interviews from my own home. And so I think technology is really helping that particular segment of society. Women are really benefiting from these new technologies.
That's very, very true. And I think especially you make a very good point about the concept of kiosks. It's not just about producing, because you and I both know McDonald's is going to be full automation within just a couple.
Which is really sad, because I think a lot of people, and particularly with the minimum wage debate, we often think that minimum wage jobs, it's only about the take-home pay. But I was 16 at one point. I had a minimum wage job. It taught me how to be on time. It taught me about good manners. It taught me to utilize my time in an efficient way. My first job, my first minimum wage job, was my foot in the door, and I think it taught me some good lessons. So that part is unfortunate, and I think really young people are really going to suffer because there won't be as many jobs available.
That's true. Of course, it depends on what part of the country you're from, because not all teenagers are out there working.
That's right.
You big city kids and looking right at you. All right. It's very interesting to talk about this with you because this is moving forward. This is going to be a very big debate with people as far as, do we automate things or do we hold back for jobs? And it seems to be very bipartisan sometimes look at, preserving jobs at the expense of technology. So I can't wait to have you on more to talk about this as this definitely moves forward.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot. Julie Gunlock, author of From Cupcakes to Chemicals and Policy Director at Independent Women's Forum.